Hello, I'm Joseph McKee, and I'm going to present to you the life history and possible future of passenger pigeons. Their scientific name is Ectopistis migratoris. They are an extinct North American pigeon species. Historically, their population ranged from 3 to 5 billion individuals, and historically, they were an important eco-engineer. They would be able to destroy forest and reset forest into different stages of succession. They would do this by roosting in the limbs of the trees and destroying them based off their whole weight in these limbs. They would also eat much of the seeds and invertebrates in the surrounding forests. And when they would leave these forests and migrate to other regions, they would leave snow mounds of poop in their wake, which was a huge nutrient overload for future growing plants. Their historic range was from southern Canada to the Gulf of Mexico and from the Great Plains to the North Atlantic. As their scientific name suggests, they would have these great migrations, and in these migrations, they would have large flocks that would be able to block out the sun, and they would stretch for many miles across the landscape. However, with these large amounts of individuals, the species still went extinct in 1914. The declining populations of passenger pigeons is mainly due to overhunting, because they were so easy to just shoot in the air and drop a lot of individuals with one shot. They were hunted all across America, but also due to the flocking ability or their flocking tactics, they were easy to set up large nets and have them funnel into these nets to be caught. Deforestation was also a large factor to the declining numbers of passenger pigeons. Deforestation was due to the forest being chopped down and converted to agricultural fields during the 1800s and the 1900s. However, there's also a lack of conservation, or a lack of conservation led to the extinction. There was a little bit of conservation. In 1914, the only known bird at the time was Martha, who is present here in this picture, and they created a law that forbid shooting of passenger pigeons, and they were inquiring the finding of a male. However, they were unable to find a breeding male for Martha, and she was alone in the world for 4 years until she died, and the species went extinct in 1914. However, there may be a possible future for the passenger pigeons. There's an organization called Revive and Restore, which are currently working on bringing back the passenger pigeon by 2025. This project is largely led by the ecologist and genetic engineer Ben Novak. The process that Revive and Restore intends to use on bringing back these passenger pigeon species is they started by collecting DNA samples from taxidermied specimens and museum specimens across America. They also took band-tailed pigeon DNA, and they began sequencing all the DNA. After sequencing a complete genome of band-tailed pigeon and sequencing pieces of passenger pigeon DNA and trying to build a complete genome, they compared the two genomes and looked at how the genes differed and how these differences in the genes would cause morphological differences in the organisms. That's what they have done. What they're currently doing now is they are currently editing band-tailed pigeon DNA to resemble more of the historic passenger pigeon DNA, and they hope to then start hatching hybrid band-tailed pigeons that will closely resemble passenger pigeons. After a while, they hope to selectively breed these passenger pigeon hybrids until they have a specimen that closely resembles the passenger pigeon. Once they have that, they hope to raise a flock of these passenger pigeons and try to have the birds refill their roles of eating the correct uh, insects and fruits and nuts, while also helping to train them to migrate how they historically did back in the day. And then hopefully by 2025, we will be able to release a full flock of passenger pigeons back into the wild, and we'll be able to see how they interact in their old niche. The possible future of the passenger pigeon is that they will be able to refill that ecological role and help bring a healthy diversity to oak forests across North America, eastern North America. However, there are potential negative impacts of releasing the passenger pigeon. They may be able to outcompete other organisms in the area that filled in their ecological niche, but they may also cause vast differences of biodiversity in oak forests due to their diet and their ecological role. However, releasing the passenger pigeon could also lead to other extinct species being revived, like the great auks, the Carolina parakeet, or even the woolly mammoth. And so, hopefully, with a lot of effort, we might be able to bring back some of these extinct species to help fulfill missing ecological roles. That is my presentation. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them in the forum discussion box. So, I hope to see your questions.